Hi, Jeff Nepper with Canary Labs. Wanted to go over our data generation software. This is software that is meant to create fake data for demo purposes. If you wanted to navigate to the application, come into your C drive and take a look under the Program Files 86, Canary Labs, Logger, and you likely have a folder called Data Generation Latest. Inside of that folder, you'll want to launch the SAF data generation application. Now when that launches, you're going to have a group of 20 tags. Each tag represents one of the different data patterns that's available. At any point, if I click on any of the tag rows, I'll get an edit field here on the right. And so just to give you an idea, what we can do here is we can change the pattern to any of the 20 patterns that's listed here, and I'll just go through those quickly. Decay is going to be a value that over time is lessening. Discrete will be a Boolean that will just change between a true or false. Growth will over time be a value that is just growing. Pulse will simulate more of like a voltage or an electrical signal. A ramp down is going to be a constant rate of down, and it would actually look like a 45-degree angle coming down. Ramp up would be a 45-degree angle on a trend chart going up. There's two different randomized patterns here, random 1 and random 2. A sine wave. Three different square patterns, which would, if we had say a cycle of 5 minutes, 10% of the time would be reading false, 90% of the time true, 40% of the time false, 60% true, and then a 50-50 split. A step up will do just that. It will be a flat line for a period and then take a immediate jump up in value, flat line, jump up, so it looks like a set of stairs. Step down would do the same thing coming down. A string is an actual string value. A triangle is a combination of a ramp up and then a ramp down, so it will actually look like a triangle. Accumulate. This is meant to be used like a totalizer tag. It will always grow over time, the value, but it'll do it randomly so that you can actually get a bit of randomness in your growth pattern. Then we have three final random patterns, random middle, low, and high. And this will behave in random order, but it will stay in the middle of the value most of the time. So if you have a 0 to 100 min max, it'll live in that 40 to 60 range most of the time with occasional spikes high or low. Random low would live in that side of that same value most of the time between 0 and 20 with occasional high spikes, and random high would live in the high value with occasional low spikes. So we decide what pattern we want, and then we can decide which type of a value we want, whether we want a double, a float, or an integer. We can set our min and max values. I'll come back to offset. We can set our cycle. So in this case, we would decay starting at 100 and come down to 0, and we can choose how often that cycle repeats. Currently set here at 1 minute, so we have hour, minute, second. I could add day. Maybe I do 1 day with a period for day. And then I can do log rate. Instead of 1 second data, I might want this to be a 30-second read. All right, so as I make those edits here, you can see they update on my row for decay. Currently, we have the auto number system turned on. That's why you have a 001 after each of these tag names. I can turn that off, and all those files will update. It is being written into a data set right now called data generation. I'm going to leave that alone, and it is pointing to my local historian. I'll leave that alone as well. So at any point, I can copy this tag by highlighting and hitting copy selected and duplicate that result. And then if I wanted to change this tag name, I could do so. Maybe call that 01. All right, so once I've built out my entire list of tags, oh, I'm sorry, I said I'd come back to offset. This is a good example. So I have two different decay patterns now, top and bottom, and each one has identical cycle rates and log rates. If I wanted to, I could offset this one by half of that time period. Let's call it 12 hours. And so it would literally offset the cycle rate by 12 hours. So when this one is at 100, starting to count down, this one would be around 50 halfway through its cycle, counting down. Okay, so I think I covered pretty much everything there. Let's talk real quick. I can save this, and when I save it, it's going to save as a data generation file. I typically save these inside of my C drive historian data folder. You can see a few that I've already built, which would mean I could also open as well or create a brand new one. A new one is going to give me just a blank workspace where I would then just add a tag and build the tag out accordingly. I have the ability under logging just to start logging this tag. If I start logging this tag, I'll see down at the bottom how many updates I've made and that I have started the logging session. I always want to stop the logging session before I put my computer to sleep. There we go. And I also have the ability, if I want, let's change this tag name real quick. If I want, I can do a range. So I could choose to maybe log this for the month of October. I'll close that range. And now I'll be logging that when I start for the month of October, and we can see the progress. It's almost complete, and it shows you how many tags have been generated. The other option that I have, once that completes, I could do an open-ended range. So for instance, if I change this to 002, I have the ability, the range is complete. I have the ability to range this and say start yesterday, and if I leave this open, it'll get to current and then continue the logging session. So this is a way I can backfill a lot of data and not have any interruption and have it continue to flow live. And so that is now logging. It's already backfilled, and I can see it's now updating once per second. You will get error logs if you try to restart a new logging session. You'll see windows pop up and fill the screen. Or if you have duplication, say in your tag names, that'll kick an error and you'll just get a cascading window. So anytime I've messed up, I know because I get a cascading window, I've got to manually kill the application. And then I would look immediately to that file and see if I have duplication of the tag name. If I didn't, then I would realize that I've probably tried to restart a logging session while one was already running. Again, this is not meant really for customer use. This is more just for a demo system for data generation. We have an entire testing area as well as a status area. We can dive deeper into that if you have questions that are more, maybe a little bit more defined. This is something I personally have never even dealt with or used. I've not ever found any need for this. This is more for, I think, our development's internal testing. So there you have it. That is our data generation system. If you need any help with that, please give us a quick call or email us info@canarylabs.com.